What's on, everyone? You are through to the pop culture universe. Today, we are reviewing something very special that dropped on Disney Plus. It is Star Wars Visions, the animated show, 9 episodes. We reviewing. It's a spoiler review, just to confirm, everyone. Reviewing the whole series. I'm going to do a brief run through of each episode and our favorites as well. We'll of course rank it at the end. So I'll be one of your reviewers today. My name is Bogz. We're with my girl Soul today. How are you today, Soul?
I'm doing good. So excited to review this. Well, I'm not going to say it's my favorite thing in Star Wars because there's so much about Star Wars that I love, but this might be one of my favorite things that I've ever seen Star Wars.
Wow.
It's so unique. I loved every minute of it. So I can't wait to review it.
Yes. So I've watched it twice personally. I've watched in Japanese first time, and then I watched the dub version the second time because they're all ranging between 12 and 20 minutes, 12 and 19 minutes. So you can get through them all in a day. It takes 2-3 hours or so. But overall thoughts. I mean, would you like to go first? Overall thoughts of the series. Any standout things and any negatives if you have any, or anything constructive about the show.
I absolutely love this. I watched this in Japanese, and then I was able to watch some of the episodes in English. I was trying to get to that rewatch, but I hadn't been able to get to all of them, so I will be finishing the rest of this rewatch in English again. Enjoyed both the Japanese voice actors and the English voice actors. They both did a really good job in this. Very interesting, very unique stories, definitely going into the Star Wars canon. And you could see where Star Wars was influenced by Japanese canon and Japanese movies and Akira Kurosawa. So you got to see it kind of like return back to that especially in the first episode. So that was absolutely awesome to watch. Love the music. The music in each episode was so good. There's one episode in particular where the music was just top notch for me. We'll get to it when we go into the episodes. And yeah, I love I have a bad feeling about this being added in a lot of the episodes too. So little Star Wars moments in each episode, and some people that we got to see in that second episode that like any Star Wars fan is like, they're here. So great time. Had a really good time watching this.
Yeah, so did I. It's beautiful. Basically, it's beautiful.
Mm.
It's some of the action stuff is so good. It's super fun. The main thing for me is, as a Star Wars fan, my favorite thing in Star Wars is basically the Force. So it's the unique selling point of Star Wars, different to any other franchise. The elements of the Force, the Sith, the Jedi, kyber crystals, the balance, what to do, how to use your power. For me, this is some of the key strengths in storytelling that just appeal to me, and this needs to be at the forefront. These kind of storytelling. So I have missed it because a lot of the sequel trilogy hardly touches on any of this stuff. At most we have on screen is 2 Jedi at a time maximum. They don't even mention the word kyber crystal in the sequel trilogy. So having this in every single episode, it was like I was like candy, with a baby kind of thing. And being anime, I'm not the biggest anime person. I've just never, watched the first season of Avatar and a couple of Studio Ghibli movies. That's it. So going into this, I did like the trailer a lot, but having seen this, I feel like I've been missing out all these years. And just confirm the show is not canon. So none of these shows actually tie into any kind of movies or series or any other kind of medium. But so if you are a casual Star Wars fan, it's definitely something that is worth watching because you're just thrown into an anime story with in the Star Wars kind of universe, but it's not connected to anything really. There's only one episode which ties in any other kind of canon characters. As far as I'm aware, there's probably loads of Easter eggs that I've missed, but only the second episode really has any characters from the Skywalker saga. So you don't really need to be a hardcore Star Wars fan to watch, but of course it makes it all the better if you are. So I absolutely loved it. Any negatives, I would say, is it sounds like an easy one to say, but some of the episodes are so short. I could have movies about some of these episodes. I want a 2-hour movie. I was gutted that they were over sometimes. Or I will say that this if you are a casual Star Wars fan or just put on Disney Plus and watch it, I will say that the episodes are a bit samey. So they are a bit, Jedi, Sith, good against evil, balance, kyber crystals in every single episode, which I personally love. But if you are a casual, I can't imagine it being every episode kind of like some episodes blend together, which I do understand from a kind of certain point of view. But I loved it. I could watch, so much more of these. Some I enjoyed more than others, which we'll get to. But I just thought it was such a different thing for Star Wars. And like I said, being, the whole mythology about the Force, being like of ancient religion and Joseph Campbell stuff and the hero's journey in every single story. This is what it's about. Some people's favorite things about Star Wars are the politics or X-wings or whatever, the pilots, or no, this is the key. This is unique to any other franchise, and it's one of my favorite parts of any storytelling medium. Other franchises do it as well, but Star Wars does it the best for me. And having these type of stories in the forefront is something that I just relish. But yeah, we're going to do episode review now. Quickly, spend a couple of minutes on each episode. But any kind of final thoughts you want to say before we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Sure. So episode 1 is called The Duel. Okay, so straight up, it's probably my favorite episode. The episode is a wandering stranger with like a mysterious past has to defend a village from powerful kind of bandits, and these bandits are basically stormtroopers with a Sith leader, and obviously the bandit is like a Jedi in disguise. The animation is absolutely incredible. The sound design, hearing the droids and just the other, the kind of just the stormtroopers and the blaster fire in this kind of like an old Japanese village with this kind of matte design, and having like a smoke in the foreground that moves, but there's like a slowed version, but it was just gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. The set designs, how the characters look, the buildings, the stormtroopers, because they even have like Japanese attire, clothing, the costumes on top of the stormtrooper outfits, and they just look like old school. It's like the old Japanese raiders in them kind of the movies from the 50s on top of the stormtrooper gear. The costume designs, it was absolutely beautiful from start to end. And like some of the slow motion stuff that they do, it was so like it's watching Kurosawa movies, but take away the Jedi and the Sith, put samurai in there, and instead of the stormtroopers, put bandits in there with bow and arrows or spears, and it's exactly the same. There's no difference. It was absolutely perfect, awesome storytelling, and I even love the ending when he's put his lightsaber on on like a kind of almost a Buddhist icon, or like a statue thing, how that played out. And he's not a Jedi in the end, he's like a kind of Sith hunter, collects the kyber crystal. Everything was, these are one of the episodes that I could have watched the movie of this, and I was in from this. Like you said, the music is drop dead amazing, and I want a 2-hour movie of this story. So what about you? Overall thoughts on the first episode, which is The Duel?
Yeah, so The Duel, this was done by Kamikaze Duga, is the animation studio, which they're known for doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And man, I just loved that grainy black and white. Like, not only was it black and white, but they also made it grainy, and it made it really feel like you're watching an Akira Kurosawa movie. And absolutely love that. I love the pops of color, the way that the lightsabers, or the little light that he had on his wrist to call his R2 droid, or just the light that's shown off into the village. So the lighting was really good in this episode, because it was the only bits of color that you saw in this episode. I joked, I was like, oh, some Sith on Sith violence, because you got two people with red lightsabers fighting against each other. And I really liked the ending of like just bleeding that kyber crystal and then handing it to the child villager, the child chief, and saying, this wards off evil. And what we know of a bled kyber crystal in Star Wars lore is like, this is evil. This is, you have done this with malice. This is bad. And the fact that it's being said that, oh, this wards off evil, was very, very interesting to me. I want to see a full movie of this. It was so good. music great. Lucy Liu, I loved her as like the evil Sith lady when watching it in English. This was one of the ones that I did watch in English. And yeah, the story will be continued. It's the only one that's going to be continued in a graphic novel by Emma Miko Candon. Hope I said her name correctly. So I can't wait to read that graphic novel and get more on this Ronin.
The music was so subtle in this as well. It was just it like only happened during the action. You know, when the Sith and the Jedi walk, well, the two Sith, whatever they are walking together. Like there's almost no music, so it's just like a standoff. You know, something that the westerns copied. You know, again, amazing. I even love the droid in it. You know, the R2 unit or whatever. You know, it's fantastic. But moving on to the second episode, it's called Tatooine Rhapsody. And this was a band with like big dreams, and they must save one of their own from Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. And so this is the only kind of episode that has canon characters in one of these episodes, in one of the Visions episodes. But please, so you go ahead first on this one. What are your thoughts on this episode?
I love the odd combination of a Jedi Padawan and a Hutt creating a rock band. Yeah. I thought, like, what's the weirdest combination in Star Wars that you can do? Let's put it in this episode. So I absolutely just, like, that's something I never thought I would see. And that you also had Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett actually end up really liking the music at the end. You had Jabba tapping his tail, Boba kind of like tapping, like shaking his head to the music. So that was like it was a funny episode for me. It kind of gave the sense of anyone who watches anime, it's a slice of life kind of feel with this anime, which is just regular people doing like regular things, like playing instruments or going to school or all this. So even though you had kind of that beginning of this is a Padawan running away, or Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett in it, which would make it feel like a more serious episode, it wasn't. It was a very like just fun, lighthearted. The music was good in it. I really enjoyed the song, although I liked it better in the Japanese version than the English version, even though Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a really good job in the English version. I like the Japanese song version better, but man, it was a fun episode.
Yeah, and seeing all the other tie-ins like Slave One, or you know, we saw you know, people watching the performance in the cantina, and you know, Jar was, you know, with like the iPad type things, watching the performance. You know, that was super fun. And then them asking, you know, Jabba to be their sponsor. Again, this was one of the obviously slower ones for me, but I liked it more on the second watching the English dub. Yeah, it was fun. You know, especially hearing Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett, of course. Yeah, I did like it. You know, Star Waver all the way. But yeah, it was okay. I mean, I was much more interested in some of the other episodes and all the kind of extra kind of world building that has. But this was fun, no doubt. But not one of my favorites, if I'm being honest. But moving on to episode 3. This one's called Twins. So twins born into the dark side kind of clash on a massive destroyer, basically is the kind of theme on this one. And it's kind of the first intergalactic story, like out of space, that we've had. Both the previous ones to this were grounded. So it was, first of all, the opening was great, like unveiling one you know, star destroyer, and then connected with like some massive cannon and another Star Destroyer. So that was awesome to see. And then seeing the look of the twins, like Vader / Kylo Ren-esque, you know, walking through the Star Destroyers, and you could tell the different eras of where these stories are set. So obviously the second one is set, you know, clearly, you know, after, you know, during the times of the, you know, the Empire and stuff. And this one is set, I think, after episode 9, you know, because they look like first order stormtroopers. And then we see the kind of, you know, they do explain that, you know, they've created like a dark side weapon that's being charged by kyber crystals, and they're trying to kind of charge some hyper cannon, which is transferred into these twins' dark armor, so it's able to fire the cannon. And it's a planet, like a planet destroyer Death Star type technology, but via these dark side users, you know, with the kyber crystal all kind of working together. And yeah, and obviously they want to destroy these Republic fools. So yeah, it looks like it's set after episode 9, and the power core is stolen by Corey, I believe his name is, who's voiced by Neil Patrick Harris in the English dub. And they have a confrontation, and then seeing for me, it was a little bit slow of an episode up until he kind of escapes and his mask comes off, and they kind of confront each other, where you see them fighting on a Death Star. She kind of holds the X-wing from escaping, and then he kind of comes and confronts her. Tries to kind of save her, but doesn't reveal exactly why he's doing it. And then they have a confrontation. Obviously, he kind of gets bested by her. She's embracing the dark side more so than him. He kind of saved by his droid on the X-wing. And I was a bit confused about him explaining, at first, he was going to use that kind of hyperdrive and the kyber crystal that was kind of destroyed in his lightsaber. I was a little confused at that. Like, how is that going to happen? And then as it did unfold, I was, wow. It was just using the hyperdrive to like slice through the Star Destroyer, and then taking out the kyber crystal from her, and then like doing the Last Jedi-esque, splitting up the Star Destroyer. It just looked absolutely amazing. And it was just, I was like a little, the moment in The Last Jedi, everyone is like, oh, like as it happens, I had that same thing at home. Like I was like, what am I watching here? And the design of everything, it being split, and the sound design of, the hyperdrive and using the lightsaber, and the kind of look and design of the animation of how it is, and showing how powerful this kyber crystal is with these Force users. Yeah, it was seriously good. And the ending shot when this X-wing's in the sand on overlooking like twin suns, like it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. And he explains that he couldn't, he tried to save her, he kind of envisioned this, but he knew she wouldn't listen, and he still didn't give up on her in the end, and he's still trying to look for her. He knows that she's alive, and he's out there to the droid. So it looked like, as they were fighting as well, obviously him without the helmet, long blonde hair, her still in a suit, very Vader Luke-esque, I felt like in Empire, and obviously the droids there helping him. So I was definitely getting flashbacks of Luke against Vader with these guys, but yeah, I thought it was really, really strong episode, and it finished beautifully with that X-wing looking at the twin suns. But how about you? Overall thoughts on episode 3?
Yeah, so this one was done by Studio Trigger, which they're one of the best animation studios in the game right now for anime. They are known for doing shows like Kill la Kill and Little Witch Academia. And what this studio is really known for is doing very bombastic animation and like having shows that like just crazy shit happens. So you got to see that very much in this episode with the hyperdrive, with the fighting between the two twins, and then the fact that you had some Star Wars things in here where let's create a Death Star-like thing to destroy planets with kyber crystals. Let's have twins, except this time these twins are born out of the dark side of the Force, instead of kind of like where you have Luke and Leia, which are more light side twins. And so just the fact that you had like this bombastic episode, the fighting was absolutely crazy between these two twins. And yeah, that final shot with the twin sons, absolutely beautiful. Neil Patrick Harris, Alison Brie in it, man, such a good job.
Yeah, and then the R2 unit is, well, it's not exactly an R2 unit, but his name was R-Duo, and I just thought R-Duo, like similar to R2, piloting his X-wing. I just thought there was so many parallels there, and yeah, it was definitely a fun one. And they're going on to episode 4, which is The Village Bride. So this episode is where a Jedi basically takes on kind of unique customs of a remote village under threat of a warlord that's kind of approaching, because they are kind of have an agreement with so there's people kind of coming to take the chief, but obviously the chief's negotiated or they've negotiated, the tribe has negotiated to take the princess of this tribe instead as like a sacrifice type thing. And then where we see a kind of again, it started off a little slower for me, where we see kind of flashbacks of like the planet's memories of these characters. We had this princess being carried around by almost like a servant type character. They were getting flashbacks, and obviously the Jedi with her flashbacks. And then we see kind of the Separatists arrive to take the princess, and then the Jedi kind of overlooking the village. Some shots were unreal. Some of the shots, like the almost painting designs of how this Jedi kind of overlooked the village, and like really symbolic and almost like ceremonial way of looking like I'm the protector of this land. And then when the Separatists come to take the princess, and then they fire the blaster, obviously Force Awakening-esque, where she holds the blaster fire, and they realize like kind of she's a Jedi. And then the sniper's there, the guy with the helmet, obviously helping out, taking out these troopers and or the Separatists, sorry. And then we see kind of her use a blade, like awesome looking saber, ultra thin yellow, and then she kind of takes out the Separatists and saves the day. And this is the first one where the music escalated for me. So I think the first episode is really subtle. Obviously, second episode was like a band thing. Third episode was good. It kind of increased in the action stuff, but this is where like you'd say, wow, because against the backdrop of like the forest, the woods area, the kind of mist overlooking everything, it was just this was the most anime score I felt up until this, and it definitely stood out. I think that was the best thing in this episode. So how about you? Thoughts on episode 4?
Yeah, so this one was done by Cinema Citrus, which they did Codebreaker, Black Bullet, and the Doc Hack series. So again, for all my anime people out there, but favorite music of any of the episodes is this one. And like I said, the music in each episode I've loved. So this is really high praise because I thought the music in every episode was phenomenal, but this one really took it for me. I love the music in here. And like you, some of my favorite Star Wars stuff has to do with the Force. And I felt that this one was very much in tune with the Force and how the Force is in nature and just how unique this planet was. So I really loved that kind of thing. I don't think it was her servant. I think that was her husband or husband-to-be, because I think it was a wedding ceremony kind of thing, like getting married before being taken away.
When he's carrying it on her back, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, well, so she doesn't get her feet dirty. The bride can't get her feet dirty, right? And then I love too where you have, I'm gonna assume she's a Padawan because she had a braid, and just cutting that braid off to go from Padawan to Jedi. So I loved that moment because we've seen like Kanan in like Rebels, he's cut his braid off not to be fully realized as a Jedi, but for hiding. So I think this was a completely different version of cutting your braid off to really fully be like, no, I'm a Jedi. So I love this episode top to bottom. It was great for me.
Yeah, and I love that move with the guy with the helmet. Like he took it off and it fired through and kind of destroyed the starship that they're in. Yeah, obviously cutting off the hair that's a textbook 101 Japanese samurai kind of plot narrative where it's a change in character. Someone there's a death of a character. It happens a few times in this. A few characters do it where it's a signifying that this character is ending and we'll have a new one moving on in the story. So yeah, absolutely. I've only seen it I believe once in canon, which is Kanan of course does it before his death. So yeah, or someone's dying either way when that happens. So yeah, it's definitely a good storytelling and awesome throwback to Japanese cinema. And then going to the 5th episode, which is The Night Jedi, which is the daughter of a lightsaber smith, is kind of pursued by dark forces, Jedi killers, whilst on a dangerous mission. And they started off with a narration, again, slightly different, where it's explained that many generations have passed since the Jedi protected the galaxy, seeking to restore the Jedi by mining kyber crystals and then building lightsabers, because lightsabers haven't been seen for like a lifetime. So basically, there's an attempt to restore a Jedi Order, but there's dark forces there looking to end the era of the Jedi. So there's a kind of so there's a his character's name is Juro. He's also called the Margrave. He's the one organizing the Jedi Order to try and bring in any kind of, he's called out to any Jedi to come to the there's like an outpost, and then as opposed to that, we see so there's kind of two stories going on. There's one on the outpost, there's one on the ground where we see the lightsaber kind of welder Smith building these lightsabers. He gets there's some kind of Jedi hunters that come for him. His daughter has to escape, and then the way that she uses that lightsaber, and it's just that it builds on like the mystery of the lightsaber and the kyber crystal, where it changes color, how stronger you are with the force, or what side are you on, and it can change in length. I thought that was absolutely amazing. And then when she escapes, she's on like the speeder bike going through like the forest and then the ice. Again, very Return of the Jedi-esque, with the lightsaber, it's green as well. It's light green, but it's still green. I thought that was, textbook Return of the Jedi stuff. And then at the same time, what's going on, with on the outpost with the main, I think the one that we are kind of with is Ethan. He's the kind of young boy of the Jedi. He's clearly a Padawan. He's masterless. Upon the rewatch, I didn't notice this upon the first watch, but upon the rewatch, he asks so many questions, and they often pause or give like different answers to like you just don't notice on the first one. Like he asked like, "Oh, you guys masterless Jedi?" And then like the main one kind of he approaches them and asks something else. Like he doesn't answer the question, which I didn't catch the first time. But obviously on the second watch, like the writing is so good in this, and then we see that them kind of meet up where the kind of they have that amazing scene as well where that kind of older droid is she asks, "Oh, can you take me up to the outpost?" And then he's like, "I'm on my break." I thought that was so funny. And he's like drinking tea or like some oil or something, and he eventually does go, and he's super slow, and she's trying to push him. Again, that's like watching some studio Ghibli movie. I thought that was awesome. And then he takes him up there, and then she kind of hands out the lightsabers. They're all because they're building up that story as well on the outpost to say, why is he taking so long? Where's this Margrave? Obviously, we had this droid that explains that he's coming. He's just an old man. And then they hand out the lightsabers. And then even still, because initially the Margrave droid, he gives out one lightsaber, and then Ethan says, "Can I hold it?" Even though a couple of them touch the lightsaber, they don't ignite it. It goes to Ethan. Ethan ignites it, and it's blue. And there's the shot holds of them just looking at each other. And upon first rewatch, again, I didn't clock any of that. I clocked it on the second rewatch. And then, when she hands out the lightsabers later on, obviously we all see that, all the lightsabers are red. I thought that was a great twist. I had no idea that was coming. And then on top of that, the Margrave is in the droid, and then he kind of comes out and he starts fighting them, one by one. And I thought that was great. He just looked like a seasoned Jedi. Compared to these guys, a lot more inexperienced. Sith or kind of acolytes of the Sith, they said. So, it was just awesome the way he was going through them, and then, getting help from Ethan and the girl, and then, her lightsaber changing color to darker green. I just thought it was so, so good. And they had one with a purple lightsaber. He noticed, this isn't you. And he kind of changed sides from there. I just thought it was so smart using a purple one, like a dark sided, in between kind of thing. And then, helping, and then them kind of teaming up at the end. He explained, you can be the Knights Jedi, and then, and then going off to maybe save their father, because he doesn't get killed at the end. But yeah, I just thought there was so much fascination about this episode, where the twist in the story, I genuinely fell for them. I had no idea. And then even still, the droid who was, he was still commentating from his. From the vehicle that he came in. So I just thought it was so many things to like about this. And it was I felt like it was like Invincible. Like when they are, in the first episode at the end where they're all gathered, and then, they all kind of get killed at the end by Omni-Man. It was a little bit like that, like the twist there. And, it was kind of gory. And then how that last kind of Sith gets killed, the guy. But yeah, sorry, I've been going on for ages, but yeah, I really like this one. Any mythological episode like this, oh man, like I was just eating it up. Yeah. But how about you? Overall thoughts on episode 5, please?
I love this episode, and you've hit a lot of the reasons why I loved it. That droid was so fun. I'm on my break. I literally laughed out loud.
I was not expecting that. What do you mean? Like the whole thing's at stake. Yeah, that was so funny.
And I love to just the lightsabers. It was so fascinating to me. The fact that you have lightsabers that change colors depending on which person's wielding it. You have her at first, who it's very like a clear color, like it's like a clear, like kind of like, I wouldn't say black. It was kind of like a gray, kind of like transparent color. Not really, hadn't chosen a side yet. And then seeing it become darker and darker shades of green throughout, just showing like where she's headed. That was super fascinating to me. I love to, because I didn't notice the little things until I was like, oh, that's why they didn't ignite that lightsaber and they gave it off to him to ignite, is because they're all Sith acolytes. And I love to purple. That perfect, kind of like to show one of them, it was red, it switched to purple. And I was, even though this isn't canon, this really makes me think about Mace Windu. And we know that his is purple because Samuel L. Jackson asked for a purple lightsaber, like the behind the scenes. But thinking about purple now, like, is it a Jedi who sometimes have used the evil side of the Force to get stuff done, but is actually really a Jedi? Is it some in between? Now it has me thinking about purple lightsabers and Mace Windu after this episode. So I really loved all the lightsaber stuff in this.
Yeah, I even enjoyed the way they mined the kyber crystals, like the machinery that they used, and then the way they took the kind of stone from space and then brought it down and then mined them. I thought that was great. And yeah, and they sensed other Jedis were still out there, so that they're on some mission. Yeah, really, really like this one, really strong. But and then going into episode 6, it's called Toby, where a kind of cybernetic boy who dreams of being a Jedi basically discovers a dangerous truth about his creator, and then what happens next. So like a Pinocchio-esque story, you know, boy wish it could be real / boy wishes he could be a Jedi. So please, so you go ahead on this one. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, this one seemed the most geared towards kids. Out of all the episodes, you have this cybernetic droid that wants to go out into the world, wants to be a Jedi, wants to have adventures, and he has his creator basically saying, no, it's not safe, let's stay here. His creator has is wanting to create like kind of life and have life on the planet, where this planet used to have plants and life on it and no longer does. We don't know why it isn't anymore, but that's his goal in life. And then you find out one day when he goes into the basement, which he's always told, don't go into the basement, don't go in the basement. He finds a ship down there. He's just like, hey, Jedi, any Jedi out there, come visit me, like kind of thing. And you have basically I don't know which era
I think it's an Inquisitor. So yeah, it's obviously pre it's pre A New Hope, so some point after Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
So you have an Inquisitor, let's go with that, coming in, and you find out that his creator was a Jedi, and he hides him away, and he opens up, sees that he's gone. He doesn't know how it happens, but it just assumes like the Inquisitor defeated him, and so he decides to bring on his creator's life's work of creating life on this planet. And then once he's able to do that, he leaves to go on an adventure on that ship that he found in the basement. So very cute episode. Also kind of robots can use the Force. That was my question in here. I was just like, can like someone like C-3PO now decide to pick up a lightsaber and be able to use it and use the Force? So that was my main question coming out of this. But it was a very cute episode, very geared. I think this is one of the episodes that I can show my niece and she would have a fun time with it.
Yeah, so I did on the first episode. It was a little confusing for me. Like it just happened so fast. I think it's the shortest episode as well. However, on the second episode, I really enjoyed it. On the second rewatch, sorry. So first one, you know, everything happens super fast as well. Where you know you see he kind of wants to be, you know, he wants to live the path of the Jedi. He's, you know, he does that call in error. You know, he's being playful. But seeing the sets, you know, of their house, you know, the markings everywhere, of like old battles, with there's AT-ATs there, there's X-Wings on the walls, and how he uses that technology to kind of find out, to seek knowledge basically. And then when they kind of see the Inquisitor, and obviously gets, his professor gets killed and stuff. And when he sees the Inquisitor and has the whole, you see like, calls him a Jedi killer, and then you see the size difference. Like obviously the droid is really small and it's white, angelic kind of color, and that's huge, and it's dark, completely black, and just the size difference. And I did love the juxtaposition of everything. Very obviously literally black and white, like storytelling, but I just thought it was super fun where he saw like a force ghost of his professor, he knighted him by the will of the Force. I thought we've seen this kind of stuff in Rebels. I just thought it was super cute, and like almost he was going up in levels, and like powered him to he was doing it by the grave as well. Like he looked up at his grave, and then he was like able to fight with a lightsaber, and then powers up with I think it's CO3, the little droid. And this droids was super cute, like helping him, and just he had to kind of rebuild them as well, and helping him, and kind of like jumped on his back and like geared him up to like some, again, it was like watching I don't know, some other anime show where he got some kind of superpower and he kind of sliced through the Inquisitor, and then kind of put his thumbs up at the end. I really enjoyed it. Like I just enjoyed the black and white kind of storytelling of it, and kind of honoring your master, and him kind of continue on his legacy and seeking knowledge, again like Pinocchio-esque themes in this one. And saying that like the legacy, want to continue his legacy by helping planets. That's what Jedis do. And he kind of flies off into the galaxy. I thought it was really sweet. I did enjoy it a lot more on the second rewatch, to be honest. But then moving on, so we got 3 more left on the episode 7, which is The Elder. This is where a Jedi and his Padawan pursue a dark and powerful presence. So I'm going to go with you, Sol, on this one first. So please tell me your thoughts on this episode.
I love a good master and apprentice story.
Right.
It's Star Wars. And this was done also by Studio Trigger. So this is the second episode that Studio Trigger does. And they're going to this planet, and it's very much, I love the fact of how like they're able to, like these people on this planet, they're very shy. They're not very trusting. And just the little wink that he does with the kids, they were like, oh, you got the kids to like you. That's a hard task. And then they find, the people of the village says, hey, there was this really old guy that came through. He's up in the jungle. And you kind of have this kid, this Padawan, who's just like, he wants to fight. He wants to show it his worth. He wants to be in the action. And then you have the master kind of like, not yet. It's not all about that. And we've seen that all throughout Star Wars kind of thing. And pretty much they're like, let's stay here and wait for him to come back. He has to come back to his ship. And the Padawan's like, why don't we split up? Which is never a good idea in any situation. Let's split up. But he goes with some villagers up into the mountain, and he finds the Elder, and you find out that this Elder is a Sith. And man, this old guy can kick some ass. And the fighting style between them, and then also when you have the master who comes to save his apprentice, and the fighting between that, and just the fact too of like, I won because he's older than me, and so he's not at his prime. That's the master saying that's the only reason why he won. He goes, and while I get older, I'm not going to be as good, and you will get stronger in the Force, and then eventually you'll be like me, and then teeter off as well. So I kind of loved that, just that cycle of life, and that cycle of being a Jedi is going from, or just any Force user, because he's saying it with the Sith, is like, you're going to not be as good as in the Force. You're going to grow and get stronger in the Force, and then you're going to teeter off at the end because you're getting older. And so I kind of liked that message in this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. This episode was. I enjoyed it even more so on the second rewatch. So very dialogue heavy, like the first half of the episode is, but that's brilliant. It was like watching Obi-Wan and Anakin, in the prequels, or seeing a number of comic books. There's a Master and Apprentice comic book, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, with Anakin and Obi-Wan as well. So it was like an episode of them just animated. And hearing, them kind of being mid dialogue and then him sensing something, I thought it was great. And then going to the planet and then having the dialogue, having the plan, the elder Jedi, the master speaking to the the villagers, and the apprentice speaking to the youngsters, or winking at them, having that bond. And then having the backdrop of this forest was absolutely gorgeous with smoke. They even commented on it. Oh, the planet looks even more beautiful, when we're here. And he's like, you should try the food and everything. I was like, yeah, you're right. It looks awesome. And then, being careful of this elder. Is he Sith? Is he not? They did say, be careful of this kind of these wild animals, these Vamgers, which he goes to inspect it. And obviously he goes to the carcass, and then he's there like just so creepy almost. And then he kind of betters him and teases him like so creep, like, I sent someone more powerful than you. I was after him. Like the greed of the Sith, the dark side, and almost just playing with the Padawan, and it takes him out. I did think they, seemingly didn't kill him. I was a little bit shocked at that. If you get hit by a lightsaber like that, you would think they're dead. But which I thought the character was at the time. Then
I thought it was too.
All right, and then the master comes, and then just saying how strong he is with the Force and the respect that the Sith guy had for him. And then it started to rain like really hard. I thought, this is so good. And then as they're fighting, and then obviously the Padawan saber comes and gets involved and kind of helps distract him, the elder, so the kind of Jedi master could end him. And just the shots that they use, so textbook samurai, like close-ups, the zooms, it would hold on each other. They're just posing, like waiting for each other to feint or to move. I kind of loved all that. This one was so well shot, the kind of direction on this one. And then using kind of wipes as well, like very obviously prequel-esque as well. And just saying that, having the honor of respecting your elder, in as a Force user, and I even thought his starship looked really cool. Like it looked really modern, even though he was really old. But yeah, seeing that, like he would have beaten me in his prime. I'm getting older as well. It's just like the way of the Force, and just the whole master and apprentice, lore. It's literally, it's world building. It's giving us more details about, about master and apprentices and Force users and stuff. So absolutely loved this textbook. Like I said, prequel stuff. So yeah, it was just watching episode of the Clone Wars, or like I said, prequels, or these comic books, and it was good lessons to be learned, and for master and apprentice stuff, and built on that. And then moving on to episode 8, we have Lope and Akko. So this is the family torn apart, basically, or family is torn about what to do when the Empire approaches their planet. So we see, I think Teo is the planet name. It has rich natural resources. They initially welcome the Empire to kind of cultivate it, but the people struggle with the Imperial depression or stronghold on it, where it's excavating their natural resources, and there's like almost civil wars happening. And we see initially a little girl kind of from the Empire is taken in by a family, father and daughter, and then the story jumps 7 years later, where the Empire is even more exploiting their kind of planet, and then we see an explosion, and then the father and daughter's arguing. The daughter's for the Empire, we say either way we need to join them to see the bigger picture. And the father's very much against oppression. We have to respect our culture, and pushes back and wants to push back against the Empire. And then Lope's kind of in the middle, like we need to stay as a family, but I understand what my father's saying. She goes to with her sister to Akko to see the Empire, just they kind of run into the Empire. We see this Imperial officer. I thought he looked great, by the way, like with his with his credentials badge thing, and just his hair design. He had short hair, like he just looked fantastic. And,
shaved on the side.
right. And he had little eye makeup, and he was like, come join us. And she kind of does, her the sister, the Akko character, joins them, and then she kind of runs off and then tells her father, and then her father kind of explains that and I love the house, the Minka house, the Japanese old school style, like old villagers, ancient kind of samurai looking. And then he explains, we have an old ritual where he tells, they tell like a flashback story of, a Jedi came here once, taught us the ways, how to use this weapon, and it's been passed on. And he kind of does a kind of ceremony where he passes on the lightsaber to to this Locke character, and he's obviously not his daughter. You know, he explains that several times. You're not daughter by blood, but you know, I kind of still love you, and I'm still passing on this to you and the techniques and stuff. And then you know, she's worried that, you know, the household will no longer be more, but you know, he's kind of aware that he's still saying, I still love you both, but he has to take out his daughter because, you know, she's kind of joined the Empire and he has to respect his clan. And like, we're talking Star Wars and old school Japanese stuff. Like, I'm just eating it up. And then when they go, Locke jumps on a speeder and then she kind of makes her way to like a base, which is leading up to a Star Destroyer. And then they all kind of confront each other. They're mid-battle, you know, the father and Okko, and they're fighting, and then they get distracted by Yope there. And then he like gets his other eye cut, so he's blinded. Again, very Japanese samurai-esque. And then she kind of uses the lightsaber, the family lightsaber. It has the calligraphy, Japanese calligraphy in the like. What are we talking about
so
here? That's so good. And then the family sword, and she's like, "It's mine." You know, obviously very Star Wars-esque here. You know, talking about families, you know, siblings battling against the father, backdrop of the father, and then she kind of uses, and then the Okko character obviously destroys the droid, which has the family picture on it, which I thought was really sweet. And then there's like an awesome fight scene where she used the father's the saber, the family saber, and the father's blade to kind of cut her open, but she lands on a you know, some kind of starship, and then very like Vader-esque as he's, you know, on the TIE fighters, or we see multiple characters do that, Starkiller and stuff, you know, on these starships, and then it kind of escape, and then we see the father kind of move at the end, so he lives. But this is just classic Star Wars, Shakespeare's kind of stuff mixed with samurai, and yeah, the animation was great, and yeah, there's so much to like about this, the family drama going back and forth, and it was so good. But please, what about your thoughts on episode 8, Lope and Okko?
Is it Akko or is it Ocho? Because the whole time I was calling her Ocho.
Ocho sounds great.
So I'll call her Ocho, he'll call her Akko, and whoever's correct, tell us in the comments below. But I love the themes in this. Yeah, definitely you have the Star Wars stuff, you have the Japanese stuff, the calligraphy in that lightsaber. When that happened, so cool.
I paused it and I like just to look at it. Like, it goes all the way down, and yeah, so good.
When she cuts her with like that cross with the blade and the lightsaber, I thought she was dead too. So this was another moment where I thought a character was dead, and then it turns out that they weren't. But going to the themes, that family doesn't have to be blood, and that you have family members when they're on the opposite side of a war, and you've seen that in real life, you've seen that in storytelling. So it's kind of a very interesting like dynamic there, where you're having this family dynamic, which is very much Star Wars, but it's also very much Japanese as well. So I'd like going into that, and just how people can side with an oppressive regime, where you had Ocho joining the Empire because, like, look at all the good that they've done for us. We couldn't have gone forward in technology if we didn't have the Empire here to help us, and kind of dismissing all the bad stuff that they're doing because of the little parts of helping their community that the Empire has done. So you could see that, and then the fight on the other goes, it doesn't matter the good that they've done, look at all the bad that they've done as well. And you see that in politics now, you see that in oppressive regimes around the world now. So this one felt the most real life to me out of all the episodes.
Yeah, I agree. And then also seeing, you know, the kind of Force vision that they use when doing the ceremony, and seeing kind of all the Jedi logos around, it just looks so good. And yeah, absolutely, inheritance has nothing to do with blood. I think they said that a couple of times in the episode. So yeah, this is again, I totally agree, this is the most real life story themes in this one. But yeah, a very good episode. And just the last one now, this is called Akakiri, I believe you pronounce it, where a Jedi returns to a forbidden love, basically to help defend her kingdom from Sith like Shogun people. So this is where this was on this rewatch, this was my favorite on the rewatch. So I completely missed so many references in this, which I'll come to towards the end of the episode. But it starts off where the kind of Jedi, the Jedi main character in this is kind of slaughtering villagers, and he's getting flashbacks as he's doing it, or flash or dream sequences, which is this character is voiced by Henry Golding. I thought he did a fantastic job in this episode, and we established he has a relationship with a character called Misa, and he kind of explains when he saved, of course, that there is someone in her family. I think it's pronounced Masego, is a Sith, and he's come. He needs help to or they need help to take her on, so that's why he's there. And and they go trek towards them, and they had kind of two guides with them. I thought they were absolutely hilarious. So them two, and then the droid in the previous episodes, they were my favorite characters. Like, I was laughing almost every line that they were saying. They were giggling to each other, and like, again, this is
singing songs.
Absolutely throwback to Japanese samurai movies. They always have a funny sidekick or something to someone to kind of give the story a bit of lightheartedness, or bring their kind of hero bit of reality, bring them down a peg or two. Classic stuff. Even in Mulan, they copy this kind of stuff. So that kind of...
I was just thinking Mulan in my head as you said that.
Even looks similar as well, like tall, skinny one, like a short, chubby one. Yeah, exactly. Classic stuff. And then I even love that like old school look animation. This is like a 90s Disney animation, kind of the style of it. And then having they kind of rode up to they arrive at like another Minka hotel room where she kind of exchanges the credits with them, because he even says, as he finds another path, they say that this is the kind of the way of the gods or something. What this path is, where no one ever returns once they come back down. So almost kind of foreseeing what's going to happen in the story, because it's true, because none of them come. Well, some of the characters, don't come back down, and even like, again, I didn't notice this on the first watch, but noticing on the rewatch, when one of the guides fall off. Sorry, the taller one is actually played by George Takei, by the way, who's Star Trek legend, obviously Sulu in Star Trek, which I thought was an awesome tie-in. But the shorter one falls off, and then they say leave him, he's gone, and he kind of goes back and says nothing is predestined, nothing is written, kind of thing. So this is very old school, like almost Arabian storytelling, like Lawrence of Arabia style. Very samurai-esque as well. He goes back and he saves him. Kind of in this short-term story arc that wasn't predestined. Or again, these are some of the stuff that I love about Star Wars. Like, what is predestined? What is written? What is in your control? What is destiny? And then he kind of this is kind of answered towards the end of the episode, where they kind of come across Masogo then, which is the Sith character, and at the same time, he's getting flashbacks, these dream sequences still. We see the kind of Misa's kind of arrested, and then he explains that she's basically, they have this confrontation of they literally have a confrontation of you are now seeing your limitations of your power. Nothing is written that you will join me. He's saying it before anything's happened dramatic. It's your destiny, obviously very classic Star Wars-esque. And then he has a flashback of his master, which explains that if you go on this journey, I can't you will be tempted, and I can't intervene. And then it kind of comes back to the reality and then the color changes, like it turns totally red, and then these the Foot Clan people are kind of confronting him. He's taking them out one by one. And again, I noticed on the replay, she pushes her towards him with a mask on. Like, her hands are tied, kind of thing. So she like stumbles towards him, and he slices her through, which is the sequence that he's dreaming of. So he's foreseen her death, which again, this talks about predestined. Nothing is written. He's foreseen this, and he's still going through it. So he's argued that nothing is predestined, when it's showing that it is predestined, and you're going through the motion. So it's that juxtaposition. There's so much interest and intrigue in this kind of story. And then, we see that he kills his kind of love, the princess, and then Masego, I thought that voice actor was great, by the way, offers the right hand to join me, and we can save your loved one. Are we talking Revenge of the Sith, or are we talking Revenge of the Sith? Yeah,
I was like, Anakin Skywalker.
Exactly. By the way, this one, yeah. And I offer you my right hand, join me. He kneels down. He says, Master, I will join you. And then they both like force heal her kind of thing. She wakes up. Yeah, and help me save her, my master. I was like getting goosebumps watching it. And then she wakes up, instantly kind of realized what happened. What did you do? I had to do what I had to do and kind of walk off. And then we see that great shot of the Star Destroyer flying off. But yeah, so he was arguing that there was nothing predestined, but it shows that it is predestined and it's written. You've walked that path. Maybe subconsciously he knew that and he was trying to fight against it, which is why he went back to save the guide. But there was so many psychological, mythology force themes. That this is the stuff why I watched Star Wars. These kind of story arcs where destiny was predestined, because I like to put myself in them situations. Like, what would you do in that? Like, are you predestined to always do that, or would you do something else? Or so many interesting things. And this was such a short episode as well, so it was so packed full, and definitely worth the second rewatch, because you notice the dialogue so much more leading up to this. It's absolutely fantastic episode. So this was on my second rewatch. This was it's like here with the first and last episode. So there's so much story themes in this one. I was like sweating Star Wars like excitement with this one. So it was so good. But yeah, please tell me your thoughts on this episode.
I couldn't stop thinking Anakin Skywalker the entire time I was watching, because you have forbidden love, and then you go. They tell you, his master tells him, if you go, I cannot save you from the path you're going down. And he's going because he's having these visions. Anakin, he had visions of his mom die. His mom dies. He has vision of his wife dying, and he set everything in motion to have his wife die. So in this episode, he was setting everything in motion to have his love die. And just the whole, like, the kneeling at the end to calling him masters. I was like, Anakin, Revenge of the Sith. This is the Star Wars feeling that I'm getting from this episode. So I very much enjoyed this episode. I will be honest, it's my least favorite animation of all of the episodes. I did not like this episode. It's it looked
older. Like it's like the least flashy or like least up to date animation. But on the second rewatch, I did like it more. But sorry, carry on.
It's the company's called Science Saru, which I didn't see this anime, but they did Ping Pong the animation, and the animation style is very similar. And I remember looking at like the trailer for that one and being like, this animation style is not for me, because it was very much there's less detail in the faces, less detail in the backgrounds. It's whereas you go into like an episode like The Elder, where the detail in that episode that you saw on the face, in the background, all the details of the other episodes. And the funny thing is, Science Saru also did the Toby episode. The detail in that episode and the animation in that episode was so much better compared to this one. So that is the reason why it's not my favorite episode, is because I didn't like the animation style. Now, story-wise, this could be one of my favorite episodes, just everything that was happening in the story on how you described it. So it was kind of the teetering of like, I love the story, I don't like the animation.
I do hear what you're saying about the animation. Like I felt that if this was made in 1990, I wouldn't know what.
Yeah.
But I think I thought that on the first watch, but on the second watch, I think I maybe just forgive that stuff more. Or
again, I've only seen it once too.
Yeah, I like the animation, but like that stuff is, I push that to the side and focus on the story and the dialogue, what these what the characters are saying, and like the subtle things that happens to him, like his eyes turn red, as he's
that part was very good.
Yeah, and he gets, his bags get bigger, like his hairs like gets more stringy and stuff, like he turns more like Anakin-esque in the episode. But and then the red kind of imaging of when he kind of just before he kills her, it's like absolutely bang on, awesome storytelling. But that's it. That's all 9 episodes reviewed. We've done it as quick as we can. Obviously, we did take a bit longer than expected here, but we're going to rank them now. We're going to rank our top 3. This is hard.
This is very hard.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with you, Sol, first. What's your number 3?
I know what my number 1 and 2s are. It's the number 3 that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
I was heading Ninth Jedi, but I think I'm gonna go Lop and Ocho because our discussion of like it feels the most real, and just the family story, and then also just the blade and the like what you have of the calligraphy on the lightsaber, so good. So I'm gonna go with Lop and Ocho for number 3.
Good choice. Good choice. I'm gonna go the Elder as number 3. So Master and Apprentice one, when they actually fight, the dialogue before, wow, and the look of the forest, it was just like a quick 10-minute takeout of the Clone Wars, and then here, have this, or there's a quick mission that a Jedi and a Padawan are doing here. Take this in the anime kind of verse. So yeah, I love that one. I'm gonna go with that one for number 3. But what about your number 2?
Yeah, and very easily Ninth Jedi or The Elder could have been my number 3 as well. But my number 2, I'm going with The Village Bride. My favorite music of all the episodes, and I just loved the use of the Force in this episode, and just the fact of nature and Force, and it just felt very much like the Force at its purest place is in this episode. So I'm going episode 4, The Village Bride.
Okay, so on my first watch, my second choice was The Ninth Jedi, because the shock value of some of them things that were happening, and the droid saying I'm on my break, I laughed out loud at that. Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, it was like a random joke in the middle of this episode. Yeah, but I'm actually gonna go with episode 1, the duel. My 1 and 2 is joint, but just upon this, I've seen quite a number of samurai movies, Kurosawa movies. This is it. So yeah, it makes me want to watch more samurai movies or more Kurosawa movies. So, and I'm desperate for more of these kind of stories. If it's this character or other characters similar to this, and it started off so well. Everything was beautiful about it. And I can't wait to see more of this animation. But that's my number 2. So what's your number 1 in the Visions series?
My number 1 is episode 1, The Duel. And again, it's made me want to go back and watch more Akira Kurosawa. I was even looked up, I was like, okay, where's the Hidden Fortress available for me? Because I wanted to start off there. But man, so good for all the reasons that we explained before. And I want a full-length movie of it. Like, let's do that. Let's continue the story, and let's do a season 2 and continue the story and just make it longer. I know that we're gonna get a continued story in a graphic novel, but I also want to see it on Disney Plus as well.
Yeah, it feels cruel that it's only like 15 minutes.
Right.
Like, what? Like, you can watch it like every day for like 15 minutes and then that's it. I so wish this was a movie. Yeah, it looks great. But luckily, there basically are movies like this. So if you hit up some Kurosawa or old school samurai movies, you're going to get this kind of stuff. But my number 1 is, it wasn't at the start of this, but just the more I think about it, this is the number 9. Akakiri is the most Star Wars episode for me. Again, the animation isn't as clean as the others. I do agree, but the themes, forget it. I was watching. This is Revenge of the Sith. This is all that kind of stuff. I didn't know where the story was going. I had no clue. But the second time I was rewatching it, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't notice he was randomly talking about nothing is written, nothing, and then immediately he's there. He's having the flashes. So you click on the second time, you're like, oh, this is what they're doing. And then the Sith, says, no, she brings it up immediately. Things are written. Yeah. You're going to be my apprentice. And then, he has his flashes. He goes on one knee. He kind of, kills her immediately, goes into this trance. So showing that it is written. But yeah, again, the very key themes that I mentioned at the start of this show of the mythology of ancient religion of Joseph Campbell of predestination, all these things are being on display on this episode. So I'm guessing I haven't seen like too many people's like rankings or anything. I'm guessing not many is going to show this, but Anakin is one of my favorite characters, and just seeing this happen, like I was almost shocked. Like the respect they had for it and doing the samurai stuff. I was in love watching this episode. So yes, episode 9 is my favorite upon second rewatch though. Not on the first rewatch. It was the first episode, but so I implore anyone to watch it again.
And I'll need to watch it again. Yeah. I only watched it in Japanese originally. This was one that I wasn't able to get to watch the second time in English. So I'll probably be higher on it when I watch it the second time.
You're gonna laugh at the things that you like. I caught on the second time. Well, I don't know if that was just me or like hoping other people think like that as well. It's not just kind of weird way of watching it, but yeah, the dialogue is excellent in this. This is my favorite. This is like screenplay level writing, but I loved it. But yes, so let's give it a ranking. So I'll go first on this one. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Pretty excellent. So like I said, almost no negatives on this. Fantastic storytelling. All the themes that I love in storytelling and in Star Wars in particular. Every episode Force centric, apart from episode 2, really. The Force centric Jedi, Sith, lightsabers, kyber crystals, the Force, whatever, good light, Master and Apprentice. Awesome. This is the kind of stuff that I need in Star Wars moving forward, whether it's animation, live action, books, games, or whatever. I don't care. Give me more of this stuff, especially anime. They've done such a good job with it. Like I said, what's not giving it a 10 is I would like some longer episodes. It's like if some of like the first episode was half an hour, for example, you just got extra like double than what we got. I mean, that would have just made it so good. And it was again awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, I watched it twice in 2 days. Can't wait to watch it again. It's so much fun. But Lisa, what are your overall thoughts on Visions and ranking out of 10?
I've been teetering whether to give this a 9 or a 9.5, because if I give it a 9.5, this is the highest rank that I've given anything. And I
legally,
think it kind of deserves the 9.5 because I loved every moment of this. I am an anime watcher. I'm gonna get Bogz to watch anime. Don't you worry. But so just the anime moments in it, the Japanese lore moments in it, the Star Wars moments in it, and lore in there. And so I had a good time in every episode. I had a good time watching it. I loved every minute. The music is great. The animation for most of the episodes, I know I didn't really like the animation of the last episode, was great. So 9.5 for me.
Yeah, so I really hope they give us a season 2 of this, or series 2, whatever. Because doing, like I said, for me, I want to see this. The Force at the forefront of Star Wars storytelling, as opposed to like other animations or that have come out recently or that kind of thing, or even the sequels that they hardly took. Like in this, like every episode you have a Jedi or a Sith in it. In the sequel trilogy, what we had 2, like 3. For me, that's not what I want to see in Star Wars. I want to see this stuff. So I was more than happy to get this kind of stuff, and I can't wait for a season 2 or if they carry it in any other canon, a comic, a book, a video game, anything like that, I'll watch it because I loved it. But any final thoughts? So
I'm gonna get that graphic novel for the first episode because, like I said, I want more.
Yes, and then lend it to me when you're done, and then
I'm just gonna throw it across the Atlantic Ocean, and I'll land right at your door.
Read it to me. We'll do a read along live. But that's it, everyone. What do you guys think of Star Wars Visions? Tell us your favorite episodes. Give us your top 3 in the comments below if you want, or give us a ranking out of 10. Overall thoughts on Visions. Would you like to see season 2? Me and Saw absolutely loved it, so can't wait to watch it again. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Give us a comment, whatever you guys think, and we'll see you guys on the next review. Thanks for watching.